And hello, everybody, and welcome to another edition of Ask Us Anything. We are Mike and Jennifer Wendland, and it's Sunday night. 1 week to go before we go back to regular Eastern time. Daylight saving times ends a week from now, and it's already dark out, even now. So it's going to be like dark at 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock.
Make it a little easier to get up in the morning, though.
I guess. Well, hi, everybody. Welcome. There's a lot of you online, and we are delighted to see you as we welcome everybody. We are streaming simultaneously to our Facebook page, our RV Lifestyle Facebook group, our RV Lifestyle Facebook supporters group, and our YouTube channel as well. So lots of you out there tonight, and a couple of quick notes just on how to help get your attention towards us, or our attention towards you with your questions. And let's thank and bring on Phyllis Kerr, who's here to help moderate. Hi, Phyllis. You knew I was coming, didn't you?
Did you see me move my microphone over real quick?
I did. I think Phyllis always goes, "Oh no, he's going to take me on live." But
I got to stand up straight, got to get it together here.
I know. Would you go over just for folks, particularly those from Facebook who may not have their names show up to us, what they can do to make their name show, and then also how folks can let us know when they have a question, and it makes it a little easier for us to find.
Sure. So on Facebook specifically, you have to give StreamYard, which is the interface Mike uses for these live streams, permission to use your name if you were watching from inside the group. If you're watching from inside the page, it just picks up your name and it's okay. But just if you see that little link, give Facebook permission. You just click a link and then it all hooks up together and it's all good. And then the correct way to really get Mike's attention and Jennifer's attention to ask questions is to put question in all caps before your question, or comment in all caps. There was another one last week. I can't remember what it was, but it was compliment. I don't remember what it was.
Yeah, it was compliment works. Yeah, I think it was something unique like that. Yeah,
and that was really nice. And just for everybody knows, we try to get to all the questions. Sometimes we don't get to yours. If that's the case, please don't write Mike mean emails. Just try to either go to the social groups and ask them, or send an email.
And what we do is we try and take the questions from the top to the bottom. If we miss your question, a half hour or so afterwards, and we haven't answered, you can enter it once more, but just don't keep hitting it over and over again, because that'll get it kicked right off.
Yes.
And also, always super chats get priority. They go right to the top of the list, and we thank you. And we have one right now from William Robbins, $5 super chat. Thank you, William. We certainly appreciate that. And when we see one of our supporters, either from our Facebook members page or from our YouTube supporters, we always try and give priority to the supporters too, because they kind of help us keep all this content going. So Phyllis, thank you for moderating. We'll check back in and get a recap at the end of the program, but we so appreciate you being there tonight.
Okay, thank you. Bye.
All right, Phyllis is going to help with all of that stuff, and we will now kind of get to the questions as we work our way from the top to the bottom. And the first one from Raptorman M2Z.
With which chassis would you say is the go-to, Mercedes or Ford, for an LTV? The model of the wife and I really like, Unity MB.
That's the Murphy bed MB. Yeah.
But that locks us on a more expensive maintenance.
Well, we've had both. We had a Unity from Lisa Travel Van, which we loved and frankly miss a little bit because of the extra room it had. And we have now the Ford Wonder on the LTV Wonder on the Ford Transit chassis, and we really like a lot of things about it. The big difference is $30,000. The Mercedes chassis costs $30,000 more, and it also probably costs a little bit more to maintain. It's Mercedes, you're dealing with. And there are not quite as many Mercedes dealers around North America as there are Ford dealers. However, we've learned that just because they're a Ford dealer doesn't mean that they can service a Transit RV, because the Transit RV, ours weighs 11,000 pounds, and a lot of Ford dealerships don't have hoists that can get that much lifted up. So it can be a bit tricky. I have not had my Ford Transit serviced yet. If we head south, which we're thinking about doing for a couple of weeks for Thanksgiving, I got to run in and get the oil changed and a couple of things checked out. But we'll let you know how that goes. But generally, that's the thing, the difference between the two chassis. Room. And your thought on the two?
I like them both.
Yeah.
And the Mercedes cab, you have more room.
Yeah, it's roomier.
Ford's a little bit narrower. Ford's also easier to get in and out of. It's lower, a little bit easier to get in and out of.
And I would say that the quality between the Unity and the Wonder, the Unity has a little edge on quality, don't you think?
With
$30,000 price difference, you can
tow 5,000 pounds.
Yes, for one thing, you can tow 5,000 pounds. That's right, with the Unity. You could actually tow a car if you wanted. You can't with the Wonder that we have. Ours only will allow, I think, to a tongue weight of 200 pounds. But that's because we have the rear twin bed with the big garage, extra storage in the back. The other Unities that don't have that much storage can tow a little bit more, but nothing like the 5,000 pounds that the Sprinter can. So, all right, hope that gave you some answers. Hi, Phyllis.
I want to come back on. I want you to check Jennifer's mic.
Oh,
I don't think it's working. I'm not.
It's not on.
Oh, well, let's see.
Is it turned on over here?
Well, let me kind of look. You're on. She should be on, but that's funny that it's not. I'm looking everything here that I can.
Be Vanna.
Yeah, we could be Vanna.
Yeah. You got to do everything.
All right.
I mean, we can hear her, but it's coming in on a different mic.
What we're going to do is we're going to.
Oh, we don't need to swap.
You know what we're going to do? Hang on one second. I'm so glad that you're telling us that.
Think something was right.
Well, it might be. Let me see. Well, there's the problem right there. We can help you right away. I'm right back. So, got your microphone on, Jen?
I'm trying.
Go. Just like that. Everybody's mic is better. Say hi to Jennifer.
Hello.
Perfect.
Does that work?
Yes, thank you. All right, back to work.
Okay.
Yeah, a little operator error. You know what happens sometimes is I'll come in and I'll set this up and I might see who's in the chat room and I'll talk with everybody. But then I go away and I come back and I haven't checked it again. So it's just me being a little bit lazy. For example, I'm using this camera now, but I really want to use a better camera. And let me see if I can find that better camera right now.
I was going to tell you to get in here. Get your act together, boy.
Better camera. I thought I'd plugged something in for it, but I hadn't. So,
Mr. Mike,
for Pete's sake, there's my problem. I've got so many issues that I haven't done. Let me plug in the better camera. I plugged it in the wrong spot, so we will fix that up right now. And so this is camera 1, and this is camera 2, which is a much higher quality camera. So there, we're all set now. And I think everybody's going to hear us better. Bradley Olson with a question.
Okay, when you began your RV lifestyle, were there as many resources as we have today? Thank you again for sharing. No.
We were like, well, there was John and Kathy Huggins, who had Live Your Day. No, they had, what's the name of it?
There were like 2 couples.
Oh gosh, I can't think of John and Kathy Huggins, and they've been around for years. And
the Winds.
And the Winds, Gone with the Winds. Well, the Winds went from RVing to boating. I think they're still doing that. And Kathy and John sort of retired. They gave their podcast and some of their stuff over to our friend Robert Morales, Traveling Robert, as he's known. But there were only maybe a couple of others, but not many. We've been at this now for, it'll be 10 years, I think, in March. No, it'll be 9 years in March. 9 years in March. We started in 2012. So it'll be 9 years. And we were like, there weren't very many of us. And we were the first blog to do a podcast. And now everybody is doing this. I mean, I think there are hundreds of other couples out there doing it, and more power to it. You know, it's fun. Enjoy it. There's so many resources for everyone to check out stuff. And sometimes we actually all trip over each other at RV shows. But,
that is for sure.
But not very many, Bradley, when we started off.
Not many at all.
Ed Varga has a question.
Okay, concerning harvest hosts. When you visit one of the places, there are items to purchase as a means of thanking the host for the opportunity to stay there. What happens at the golf ones?
Well, if the golf course is open, it's good for them. A lot of people will stay at a golf course because they want to play golf, right? That's what golf courses are for.
Or a lot of places have restaurants at golf courses.
Or they may have a small little pro shop. In the pro shop, maybe you go in and buy a couple of cans of soda, but you don't have to. Some of these golf courses have pretty expensive green fees, and you don't have to do that. But it's always good to find some way to patronize them. Maybe have breakfast or lunch if they have a snack area, or buy something from their shop, their gift shop. But that's just being polite. That's just being polite. Road Trip Buddy is with us. I missed him. We were just talking about him the other day.
We wondered what happened to you.
I don't know.
Take me up and take me with you.
I believe you're out in California, Road Trip Buddy, and I hear today that so many fires have knocked out power to so many people, and of course all the fires in California affecting Rocky Mountain National Park. But Road Trip Buddy, we're not heading out to California for a long time, I'm afraid. So maybe you could thumb your way east a little bit, and we'll find you mid continent. But thanks for being there. And we were also talking. We haven't seen Davis, Tandy, and Buster for the last couple of weeks.
Right. Have you ever thought of putting a few gallons of antifreeze in the freshwater tank? Makes flushing the toilet and rinsing toothpaste down the sink a whole lot easier. I do. And it works great.
Well,
so we got to think about that.
We've done that. We've done that. It tastes terrible. And you got to go through about 3 dumpings of the fresh water to get rid of that antifreeze thing. It's so much easier in my book just to drain the fresh water, blow some pressurized air out throughout it, get all the water out, and leave the tank empty until springtime. And if you spit in the in the sink when you're brushing your teeth, or if you're flushing the toilet, you just put antifreeze in to chase it down.
Well, I think this is a good idea. Antifreeze in the freshwater tank.
You would not want.
Yeah, I don't like that.
You would not want antifreeze in your freshwater.
I was thinking pouring a little like in the sink, the bathroom sink, to help things.
You
go
do
down.
In the trap, but you don't put it in the freshwater. Once the water system has been winterized, which we just were talking about, how do you safely continue to use the toilet? Does all water get dumped into the black tank along with antifreeze? No, the water goes, if you put water in the gray tank, which we try not to, we try and put it in the black tank, then put antifreeze in with it. And if you put everything in the toilet, put antifreeze in the toilet. One suggestion is dump a gallon of antifreeze down your toilet if you plan to use it in the wintertime. And then as you use the toilet, or as you brush and it's gross spit, into the toilet with your toothpaste, pour your antifreeze in to do it. But you put it in the black tank, and you can empty it. It'll turn it into really like a slushy. It never really freezes. And then you can, there are places, most RV dealerships will let you come in and use their dump. Maybe you pay them $5-10, but if you need to empty it, you can do that. Or you can even, if you don't do it much, you use it much, you can empty it in the spring. But that's how you do it. Right?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Chris Cowley welcomes all of our newcomers, and he's talking about how to get in touch with our videos. And there's a link there that he put up, and you can find that in the chat area as well. So appreciate that. Good to have you with us, Chris. And Chris, I think, is keeping track of everybody over there on the YouTube tonight as we continue along. Ojibwe 3 with the question.
Older couple and 2 dogs just buying a new camper after 30 years without one.
Woo-hoo.
Please advise where to go in spring for an extended vacation to see things we never were able to see before.
Oh my, there are so many places. Well, you could follow us, but the first place I'd suggest you is you go to our blog and find the link for our books and pick up our Florida guides. We have now 3 different 7-day adventure guides to Florida. And you think you know Florida, you might, but go get our guides. We take you off the beaten path. We take you to some of the best places to see. We give you a route for each district, from the Panhandle and the Gulf Coast to the Atlantic Coast to the Keys and Key West. There are so many. We spent much of last year exploring Florida just for these 3 books, and we've been there many times before. We loved it.
And I wonder where they're starting from, and they've been 30 years without. I wonder where all they went when they
if you've been 30 years without, you've got to go to Florida again. Take a look there. And then, a good trip that we try to do, and we had hoped to do it this past year, but we couldn't because of COVID. We hope to do it this coming year, but who knows, is to take off, in March and to head west along the Gulf Shore, into Texas, into New Mexico, and even into Arizona. We love Arizona in the spring and in the winter. That's just a great trip. There's lots of fun places to go. We like to time that. So maybe we start in March, but we end up in April in Texas, in the hill country, when the bluebonnets come out. If you've never seen the bluebonnets, oh my goodness, that's awesome, right?
Mm-hmm. Very pretty.
And but start with our Florida books. I really recommend that. Just go to, I think I have a link here that I'm not going to, just go to rvlifestyle.com/books. And we have a new one coming out soon. We're just not going to get, right now with the election, it's just going to get lost in all the noise out there. And won't you be glad not to have all those political ads, by the way? So anyway, once the election is over and the noise settles down, we hope a little, we have a new 7-day adventure guide that we're putting the finishing touches on now that we hope to have out, and that's on Arizona. So we'll have that out in time for those of you who want to head to Arizona, maybe after the holidays. And again, we don't know what COVID will be like in 2021. We certainly are all hoping that it will be better for all of us as we travel. Right?
That's right.
Hugh Levinson.
Is 200 watts of lithium batteries enough for daily usage?
Yes, that's what we have. We have 2 100 amp lithium batteries, and that lasts us all day. It lasts us in the night. And then we also have 400 watts of solar on the roof, which during the day charges back those batteries when we're boondocking. Now, if you're plugged in or if you're going down the road, that charges your batteries during the day as well. But that's what we have, 2 100-watt lithium batteries, and it's worked great for us now. We've had it in the last 2 RVs. Tim Hart.
Can you tell a big difference driving when your tank is full of fresh water compared to half tank or empty?
Yeah, I think so. It actually feels more stable, I watched it really carefully when we went boondocking a couple of weeks ago because we had the tank filled. And it didn't really make any difference on my mileage. I've been getting 12.6 to 12.7 per gallon of gas use on our Lisa Travel Van's Wonder on the Ford Transit chassis. And it really didn't make any difference. I thought all that extra weight would. Right now, I probably have 20% filled, just enough to use it on the road if we needed to, because we got a couple of trips we're actually going to do this week. But I did feel, it felt a little stabler, a little heavier. But
so therefore it would probably ride better.
I thought it rode, I think it rides really great either way. That's the one thing, by the way, I really like about the Ford Transit chassis. Compared to the Sprinter chassis, I think it rides better. It rides more like an SUV. Than a truck, which is what the Sprinter feels like.
Mm-hmm.
Cassis.
Okay, what color did you pick for your rig and why?
Cleaning heat load. Well, I guess he means for cleaning, and does it take it? Well, we picked white this time because we think it just looks cool.
And we've had gray, and we've had green,
and we've had silver.
Yeah,
we've had 3 colors. We always tend to pick light colors. I just don't like dark colors because they show how dirty it is real easy. I think
you wouldn't want blacks.
Yeah,
some people have.
Some people, they look cool. If you like to clean your vehicle all the time, get black. Or we've seen some burgundies out there, but
black would attract heat.
Yeah, but we picked white with black trim, and we think it just looks stunning. What are your thoughts on a panoramic RV? I don't know that brand. I don't know it. We'll look it up at the RV show. I think I've had a couple of questions about it. They're not a big RV maker, so I really can't give you, John, any insight into it all. I don't know the brand at all. I've heard of it, but that's about all I can say. So, Nancy Jenkins, our friend from Canada.
Can you use lithium battery in my Dodge Caravan?
No.
I use, okay, no.
Well, she uses the van to camp out in. Well, sure, you could, but it's a van. It's a SUV. It's not meant to be used like, in a motorhome, Nancy. So I think you'd be, a lithium battery costs $1,000. For $1,000, you could buy a lot of hotel rooms if you really needed to. And you can camp just fine using your 12-volt batteries from your caravan, and you can run stuff off those 12-volt, the old cigarette plugs, but the 12-volt outlets now. I would not. I think
it's too costly.
Yeah, I think it's way too costly for the return you'd get. You wouldn't need it. Kelly Stewart.
Sorry, last week I asked you about what you thought of an ARP Adventure Class C.
Fraser Ways RV.
They live in Canada.
Don't again, these are really obscure RVs that I've never heard of them.
And don't be sorry about asking.
Yeah, don't be happy. If I know,
we're
I'd
sorry
tell
because we don't know about it.
We go to all the shows and we never see that these aren't really shown there. And so I don't know anything about the ARP Adventure Class C. But it's a small brand and we've never seen it. They don't show them. They're not seen very much here in the States. And those are the shows we go to. Service interval for the Ford Transit. I believe the first one is 5,000 miles. And then I think it's 10,000. I always get it serviced between 5 and 7. I just like to do it. We drive our RVs in a normal year very hard, very hard. We kind of crisscross the country going to events. This year is completely different. I mean, we've only got, I think we are going to turn 5,000 miles on our new one. Normally, I would have over 22,000 right now. Well, we did some in the spring on our old model, but so I usually service mine about 7. But I think the first one they urge at 5, and then after that it's 10, and I try and go lighter on that.
Okay, how do you configure office space in the RV? This one's harder.
Yeah, this is harder. There are 2 tables.
One table you can put
in the back,
one table or in front.
Two locations. You can put it in the front or you can put it in the back. The time I really need a desk when we do the podcast, and we have a big one outdoors if it's warm that we can use that it attaches to the side, or we can use the picnic table like we did a couple of weeks ago when we were up at Holland State Park. Inside, I will set up this big lagoon table between the 2 beds of our rear twin bed Wonder in the back. And I will use that for editing. I've got room to put all my gear and stuff around it. And we'll do our Ask Us Anything from there. But in most use, when I'm just writing or loading photos or answering email, I'll just put the laptop on my lap and it works.
And turn the passenger seat around.
Yeah,
to make a desk a place to set things.
Yeah, there is not. It's too small for a dedicated workspace.
That's one of the things that you miss. Is because in the Unity we had a table.
We had great big table. A dinette table that you could easily. They had a slide out on the Unity, the front Murphy bed, the Unity FX. It had a dinette, and you could set that up really easy, very, very simple to set up. And it had a full dinette table, and that was my office there. And it also had a room in the back where I could take out a little pull-out desk. It was like an ottoman, but you lifted it, and it was a desk, and it was very handy too. I miss that, frankly, in the Wonder that we have now. And if and when we get a new RV, office space is right up there. I don't have as much as I wish I had now.
Personally, I like back support.
Yes, so, when you're sitting in the back working at that desk, there's no place to put your back.
There's any back support, so I miss the 2 sofas.
Chris Matthews, the question.
Did you see where Kara and Nate were fined? Oh, we certainly did, for filming in the national parks. Any concern for your channel?
Well, fortunately, we haven't been filming in a national park in several years now, so we're good with that.
Since we got
But
both.
you know, it's kind of silly. Most of the video we shoot now, it's just the two of us, and I shoot on my cell phone. That is not commercial use. You know, commercial use is really, you know, a movie, filming a television commercial, having a crew. Bloggers now are considered, according to a federal court decision, as news media. News media do not need permits to go shoot in a national park, or to shoot, for that matter, almost anywhere, unless it's a private place and they're excluded. A feature story by a blogger like Kara and Nate, or the stuff that we do, those are featured news stories. I've been a journalist for 45 years, working for major newspapers, television stations, and you know, I'm going to keep on doing my videos. But we shoot with our cell phone most of the time. This is so incredible. Most of my videos are now shot with my cell phone. We are not a commercial user. Yes, there are ads on our YouTube channel, just like a TV station has ads on the TV channel. But it's fair use, it's news use, and if somebody would just take that, I would love to see a bunch of different bloggers really get together and hold the National Park Service accountable for that. What really happened, I think, is Kara and Nate, like all people online, have haters. There's, you know what the world is like today. There's so many people that are just so angry. I mean, angry, and they're haters, and that's what happened to them. Somebody was looking to get them in trouble, and I guess he had an incident with a drone but it was separate from this one. So yeah, I think that all vloggers and travel writers and travel bloggers will have concerns about that, and we'll see where that all goes. But we haven't been in a national park now for a while,
and we haven't been in a national park because it's harder with a dog.
Yeah, and we don't, frankly, and we've said this a couple of times. We kind of tend to stay away from national parks over the last few years because they're so crowded. And it is just, when you finally see a great photograph or something to shoot, 400 tourists walk in your shot, and they're doing stuff. They're getting too close to the animals. You just saw last week they caused a stampede of bison in Yellowstone because they were getting too close. So we tend to stay away from national parks, and until they can get something done about the crowds, I think I think you'll see a lot of the crowd issues got to be settled. Diane Wilson.
This is an easy question. What is Harvest Host? And Harvest, well, you tell about it. Join Harvest Host, and they're all over the country, and they're fun places where you don't pay any money. What you do to say thank you is you buy something. If it's a winery, a bottle of wine, or maybe they have something inside if you don't drink alcohol, pottery or something that you can buy. A museum, sometimes it's a museum. A lot of times it's orchard, places like that. You can buy some fruit. It's a
tourist attractions.
Yeah.
You know, it's a network of, I believe they have like 2,000 now, farms, orchards, museums, wineries, breweries, where you have to pay a fee to join, and
that's every year,
and that's it's an annual fee. And I think it's well worth it, because then you stay for free. You call those people up, you get access to where they allow Harvest Host. You call up and say, hey, we're coming tonight, do you have room? And we've never been turned down.
And you don't just show up, you have to call.
You have to call, just be polite, and they recommend it. You patronize them, you buy something. So we can save you 15% off a membership if you go to rvlifestyle.com/HH. And if Chris would put that in the chat rooms, or maybe I can actually do it. I can do that, and it will save you 15%. See if I can type and talk at the same time.
How many typos are we going to get here?
Yeah, let's see. Did we get it? Look at that. I don't think I got any. Check the chat room. There it is.
Why am I not seeing it?
Oh, it'll come up. It's waiting for it. Maybe it won't. It says I can't post comments to some destinations, so I don't know. Is it there? It's probably there. But anyway, rvlifestyle.com/HH. And if you go to that, you'll save 15%. So that's a little perk for you. Amy Jordan.
Thanks for touring our beloved UP the other day. Sure makes me long for the beauty of the up north, the Yooper. One day soon we will be in our RV. In the meantime, we'll watch y'all.
You know, Jennifer and I keep talking about we have a great place, our Sticks and Bricks here where we are now in southeastern Michigan, but I want to Sticks and Bricks in the UP. And you know, we just love the UP. We just got back again now. That was the very first of our 7-day adventure guides. We wrote that. I know many of you have used that. There's just something wild and absolutely breathtaking about the UP.
We both love the UP.
Yep. So we'll keep going back. Next trip right now we're thinking is January in the snow. So we'll let you know about that. Matthew Miller.
Do you have any knowledge or opinions on the, you don't know this, do you? Tail Light B Plus by R Vision? I'm interested in a used one in my neighborhood.
No. Boy, you guys have coming up with some really obscure RV brands today. I've never heard of it.
Maybe we got to write these names down.
Yeah, never heard of Trail Light B Plus. I'd like to see that. That sounds interesting. R Vision. You know, the one thing I always caution about a brand like that is not very well known is that they probably don't have a lot of service places that can handle them. Now, that said, you know, most are on the same chassis. I don't know what this is on. They're either on the Sprinter chassis, where you go to a Mercedes dealer, or they're on, you know, some of the
Dodge.
C's or some are on, not the B pluses. They would maybe be on one of the big Ford chassis or the Transit chassis.
Right.
And those engines are easy to work on. But the RV ins and outs are a little bit touchy unless they have an extensive dealer network, which I don't think these companies do because we just haven't run into them. So I can't help you out, Matthew. I'm sorry. What we're going to do if the Tampa RV show is on, as we hope it is, we are going to spend as much time as we can looking at units like that. Any of the more obscure ones, we'll check the big ones from, you know, the Thors and the Winnebagos and the Leisures and the Road Treks and all that. But we're going to kind of concentrate on some of those other brands that are a little smaller. So that's assuming that the show still happens in January as it's supposed to. So our fingers are crossed on that. Diane Krieger.
Is the fan upgrade worth the money?
The fan upgrade. I don't know what fan upgrade you mean. I don't know.
Maybe some of the fans, there's water sensitivity. They close if it rains.
Yeah, maybe that's what you mean.
And some have heat.
And I don't know what
They're
brand RV you're
in.
looking at, but yeah, some of them will have a basic, fantastic fan. That's the most common. It's a really good company. Somebody told me Dometic bought them. I hope not. I don't know. But anyway, they used to be. I think they still are great if anything goes wrong. But they do have some options. One of them is like a heat pump option. No, that's on the air conditioning. Take that back. They have an option that is a rain sensor that if you have the vent open and the fan on and it starts to rain, it will sense that and it will shut the vent so you don't wake up in the morning with a puddle inside. That is worth getting. Some of them have reversible fans so that you can suck the air out as well as bring air in from the outside. So the fan, we have found that we can get by without air conditioning in many, many cases because we use the fans right. We use it first to suck the air out, and then we have it bring in the cooler air after dark. Good question. Rob Cookson.
Okay, my parents got me into RVing when I lived in Florida for 2 years. And hats off to both of you for getting your ham radio license. It's a great hobby.
I've had that hobby, Rob, since I was about 13 years old, and that's pretty. That's a long time, and I've gone through every different iteration of that hobby, from working the high frequency bands and talking to over 200 countries and getting my award for that, to talking to a dozen stations on every continent in all 50 states and lots of others. And I still enjoy it. And if I move up to my property in the Upper Peninsula, the first thing I'm doing is putting up a big ham radio tower up there. But I do enjoy it.
Well, talk about that one person that you talked to in the UP who retired and he went up to the UP and had his dream ham radio station set up. And then
next door to him moved somebody who grew marijuana. indoor lights, and the indoor lights created this incredible RF, or radio frequency interference. And the poor guy was just deluged with this interference. And whenever the guy had his grow lights on next door, growing his weed, my ham radio guy couldn't listen.
It is so sad.
So you never know what's going to happen.
Yeah,
why you got to have good
think
neighbors.
It's perfect, and then
yeah,
and then you get a bump in the road.
Yeah. Hey, Dennis Ray, who just became a YouTube member. Give Dennis Dennis, congratulations for doing that, Dennis. That means so much to us, and I'm glad to see that you joined while we were here, because it then sent us a notification.
That's an interesting picture.
We can thank you. I can't see what that picture. Oh, it's a guy on stilts. Yeah, it looks like a parade. Yeah, his little logo. Dennis, thank you so much for becoming a supporter. James Massey with the question.
Okay, happy to be a new supporter member.
We are too, James.
We are headed out on Tuesday with a rain, cloudy, windy forecast. Don't want to cancel. What do y'all do as the weather is bad at your campsite?
Well, we could give you a lot about that, James, because the last two trips that we've taken, it has rained every day, right?
Yeah.
It's rained, been cold, been windy, and we still had a ball. Last week we did our Ask Us Anything. We were at a campground in southern Michigan, right near the Indiana border. We had a bad internet connection if you tuned in then. But that day it rained all day long. And we tend to take the weather. We hike. When we're up in the Upper Peninsula, it rained every day, several times. But there were like bands of rain. And between the bands, we went on 2 or 3 hikes. It was a stiff north wind off of Lake Superior that was really cold. But, that's part of the adventure, too.
We are from Michigan, where the weather changes a lot, and we get a lot of rain.
And, Michigan, I think other states have the same motto that is, if you don't like the weather, just wait 10 minutes. It'll be different.
Something about Lake Michigan.
Lake Michigan, for us, is way on our west. It's about 180 miles to our west. But it does weird things and seems to bring more rain.
I would say people want our Great Lakes water. They got to come live with the rain.
Yeah. But when it's beautiful, it's beautiful. But still, that's part of the adventure. You bring different clothes, for different climates. But go ahead. And the weather forecast is accurate maybe half the time. Yeah. So one thing I've learned is I've always would look like, it's 10 days out. It's going to be great. It's never great 10 days out. They really, they do their best, but they don't know. So they know maybe 10, 12 hours ahead of time.
So bring along something to read, something that you don't have time to do at home.
There's nothing better than a nap in an RV with the sound of rain on the roof. So you will enjoy it. And thanks, James, for being one of our supporters. We really do appreciate that. Bindu with a question.
Have you considered raising your RV and add larger tires to improve the ground clearance?
I didn't consider it. I guess maybe I did in passing, but no, I haven't. And I think it would be not worth the cost. And we tend to sell our RVs fairly, so we can keep getting different RVs and try it. So it's a lot of work. It's very hard to get work done on an RV by anybody, even a mechanical situation like that. And, this thing is so big. It weighs 11,000 pounds. I think it would be a pretty expensive undertaking. And in the long run, it would not get us to that many places that we don't already go and have no problems getting to. So
I think if you were really concerned about it, you wouldn't put the levelers on.
Yeah, I wouldn't have put the levelers on if I was really concerned about it. And frankly, I would get another RV if I really wanted to go off-road. Mm-hmm. I would buy a Sportmobile, or I would go and look at some of those expedition type vehicles. Right. And I'd get something like that. But
I think I'd
something
do that
that's more overlander.
Try to
type.
Do that.
Yeah, there's a lot of overlanders out there. Don Powell wants to know where we are this week. We're home.
This is our home.
We have a trip that is 50-50. I guess I can tell them. Our refrigerators come in. Remember I told you our refrigerator door broke off, and Dometic has sent a replacement refrigerator for us. Well, the refrigerator is working fine. It's a great refrigerator. It just, instead of opening both ways on the door, you have to only open one. And so we can live with it. We've gotten used to that. We do want to get it replaced. And I was debating whether we wanted to winterize it. there's a couple little things I want to tweak, and we have an appointment in Holland on Tuesday. We were going to drive over that way across the state. But then
we have to be there at 6:30.
But then we have to be in suburban Cleveland at the end of the week for a meeting and some video that we're doing there.
And I'm trying to tell them it's too much.
So we may cancel and go to Holland. We're thinking about leaving for Florida a week from today. And we just got, so that's like 3 trips that we've got within the next 7 days. And something's going to have to give, because I still have to edit a video and do a podcast and write 3 blog reports before I can go.
And if I go to the western side of the state, I want to see my grandkids and my son and daughter-in-law.
So I'm going to probably cancel the Holland trip, but
We'll
we
put
will
it
be
off
traveling
maybe till
this week
December.
somewhere. For sure, we're going to Cleveland the end of the week. Suburban Cleveland, just a little east of there. Dave with the question.
I would like to know your thoughts on the LTV Wonder Rear Lounge, which recently came onto the market. Have you gotten any feedback from anyone who's purchased it?
I have not. I don't know how many are actually in production and have been sold yet. We know the rear lounge. We've seen certainly the Unity rear lounge. We know what this one looks like. We've looked at the video that Dean did. I'm not a fan of Murphy beds, although it's not a deal breaker to me. The reason we chose the Wonder that we have, which is the rear twin bed, is because it has that massive garage underneath it that could hold one of our e-bikes, for example, and lots of chairs. We just went shopping last week at Camping World, and we bought a couple of new chairs and some bigger things. And it was so nice to be able to just put those in our camper lounge in the garage. But I've not heard anybody that has the Wonder RL yet. A lot of people like that layout, and I know it's very popular on the Unity, so I think it will be also on the Wonder.
I'm sure it will be.
Michelle, I like your little caricature there, Michelle. That's cool.
Do you recommend undercoating your rig? We're in New York, but store our rig inside in the winter until we travel again in the spring. I
don't recommend it. I mean, I don't not recommend it either. I don't say you shouldn't do it. It's just that we don't. And we use ours as a second vehicle. Ours does drive in the ice and the slush and the salt. But all things being equal, I've never had a problem with anything rusting or corroding underneath in any of our RVs that we've had over the last 9 years. So I don't think I would do that unless I could get a really, really good deal on it. And
I would recommend it with the salt. We don't keep our rigs that long.
Yeah.
If you're planning on keeping it for some time, I think that's a good idea, because salt, it's vicious.
So maybe we'll do it. I don't know. I mean, I'm happy doing it. Yeah.
And, I think
I've never, it just hasn't been there. I suppose it makes sense, if you're going to be driving in slush and salt.
Yeah, because salt is nasty. I mean, we got the salt in Florida that's in the air that wrecks your car.
That does more damage, I think, than the salt on the roads in the north from salty snowy roads. Yeah.
Right.
One of our Facebook users with the question.
First time, just took delivery of a new MB
Mercedes-Benz Sprinter
from Midwest, 26 gallons of fuel. Are there options to add an additional fuel tank?
I don't think so. There's not enough room under there, Facebook user. You don't have enough room for more fuel unless you take away one of your other tanks, which is, your fresh water or your black water or your gray water. And there's just not enough room for more of a fuel tank.
And that's a question you ask when you're buying it.
Yeah.
When you're buying it, you say, can I do that?
Yeah.
Which I don't think you can.
Yeah. I mean, if you look at some of the overland vehicles, they have small gas fuel tanks. You'd be doing diesel in that case, that they strap to the roof.
Yeah.
But so you could put I don't know if you have solar on yours. But call Midwest Automotive. That's part of the Rev Group. We know them. We've toured their factory in Elkhart. We did a video on them. And ask for Rob there. Rob will be able to tell you what to do. I don't think there's options to add any additional fuel tank to it, though. There's just not enough room underneath that chassis for it. Good question. Tracy's channel has a question for our channel.
Do you have a list of the worst RV parks to stay at so we can avoid those? The worst ones, you're going to figure it out usually as soon as you get there.
Yeah.
You're going to pull in.
I have never made a list of the worst ones.
No, never have done that.
We've had 2 bad KOA experiences. One was, and these were, one of them lost their KOA franchise right afterwards, and that was in Nebraska. And that was horrible. The dumps, the RV, they had flooding, and the RV dumps had not been emptied, and it was all over the place. So this was a bad experience. And then Estes Park KOA near Rocky Mountain National Park, so crowded. They basically put you in a gravel road, and it was just too crowded for us. And that's just true of any campgrounds, not just the KOAs. Most KOAs we stay at, we love KOAs. We stay, that's our go-to place when we need to do laundry, and we want to have most of them have a dog-free, a leash, off-leash dog park that you can use. But we've never had really bad experience.
Where we were like feeling crowded because we're spoiled. Other people were thrilled
they
were able to camp there and go tour.
And I have to say that when we talk about campgrounds, we come from the perspective of basically boondocking or having elbow room and really no neighbors, and that's the way we like to camp. So campgrounds are, we're kind of picky. Now I will say we've driven through a lot of them. Sometimes one night in Minnesota last year, we wanted to spend someplace, and so we started looking at all the apps. We had the phone and the apps, and we were looking at all the different campgrounds, and we pulled into at least a half dozen. And I'm sure most people would have loved any of them, but we just kind of went, it wasn't us. And we ended up staying. We told the story, I think, last week or a week ago, but we ended up staying in the parking lot of a restaurant we ate at Detroit Lakes, Minnesota. It was right on the lake, and it was as quiet as can be. It had a view of the lake. It was awesome. Once it was a bar and restaurant. Once everybody closed up at midnight and went home, we had the parking lot to ourselves. It was gorgeous, and we got the permission of the owner to do it.
Now, I think where it gets complicated is if you're trying to book in advance.
Yes,
and then if they joined like our group, they could ask people, "Where do you suggest that I stay?"
Our Facebook group, the RV Lifestyle group on Facebook, or another resource is. Campgroundviews. Is it campground or campsite? Campgroundviews.com. They have photographs of the actual campgrounds, and you can look at those, and that will help you too. But we do not have a bad list because we don't stay in that many campgrounds. A naughty list. We don't have one. Yep. Another Facebook user with a question.
What is the difference in mileage between the Ford and the Mercedes?
The Mercedes was diesel, and I got on the last one we had, which had a lot of lithium batteries and a lot of solar on the roof. It got about 15 miles per gallon diesel. I've had some Mercedes that have gotten as much as 18 miles and even a little bit more. But the Ford Transit that we are in now, it gets between 12.6 and 12.7, and it runs on gasoline, which of course is right now much cheaper than diesel. Charlotte Walston. I like your dog, Charlotte.
In Durango, Colorado, if only the nighttime temps get below freezing and daytime temps are still in the 40s or 50s, is it necessary to winterize?
No, it isn't. It got down. We have this. I want to get one for the RV too. We have a projection clock that shoots a little thing up, and you've seen them, right, everybody?
I'm sure people would say that is really bad because you just open your eyes and you can see what time it is.
I love it. I see what time it is, and I see what the outside temperature is. And last night it got down to 29 degrees here in Michigan, but it got up to 50 today. And we're getting close to the edge. But what I say is, if a mud puddle will freeze, that's a pretty good indication that your pipes are going to freeze. Unless you're inside the RV, and if you have the heater running, they're going to be warmer. If you're using water, before you go to bed, and in the water heater's on, they're not going to freeze. But
famous last words, Kentucky Horse Park.
Well, we did one time, but the temperature there was 8 degrees, and we drove home in 8-degree weather, and it did freeze up. We had we were like really worried, and we just took it to a local dealer, and they just brought the RV inside in a heated garage, and 6 hours later it was fine. But you know, you're getting close to the edge. If you're going to be going to warmer weather, you're okay. We have not winterized ours yet. I debated doing it today, but I looked at the weather. I was just telling you, don't pay attention to long range weather, but I looked and it looks like it's going to be okay towards at least for another week or so. It's when the temperature is consistently below freezing for all night long. Most of the time, you know, it starts off like right now, it's 43 degrees right here.
How many of you out there have that, where you look up and you can see the temperature in your room, you can see the temperature
projection
outside,
clock? Am I the only one?
projection
I love
clock,
that.
and then you
You
can see
don't
what
like
time
it
it
that
is.
much.
It's over. I don't
Oh,
want to
okay.
just open my eyes and see. It's kind of off to
I
the
like
side.
it. I like it.
It's my, I want to turn my head to look at it.
So your question, you're close, but I wouldn't worry if it gets up that warm every day. So, because it's not going to get that cold at night for that long. Greg,
What are some good resources to purchasing an RV, and what's the best towable or motor home?
What's the best? Wow, you know what? Gosh, there is no best. It's what you want and what's best for you. So I can't answer all of that. Resources. We have a book. We wrote a book on buying an RV, and we've gotten so many questions over the years, and we've had now so many of them that we have put together on how to save money, how to negotiate, what to look for in an RV, all that stuff. And you know, it would take 2 hours for me to really kind of go over that. So I would suggest you get our book, and it's a guide to buying an RV. Just go to rvlifestyle.com/books, rvlifestyle.com/books, and look for the one we did on buying an RV. In terms of the best towable or motorhome, boy, you know, money is what makes it. You know, the more money you spend, the better the quality. So I would caution you not to go to buy on price alone, because I think you'll be disappointed. You'll find that you can get some things pretty cheap, but they tend to use particle board. And why
They fall
that's
apart?
particle board, you know, they put the screws in and you put it, whatever, you use it a few times and that particle, the screws fall out and it's just a mess. So
how many problems has our son had with his towable?
He's constantly, and he, you know, he's got a fairly name brand, but an inexpensive model, a great price. Buy it today. We'll give you this, you know. So do your homework and ask around. But I can't tell you what's the best towable. I mean, in our case, if I was going to buy a towable, I would look at Lance trailers. I would look at Airstream. I would look at that company out in Oregon, North. Somebody told me last week, and I said, I'll remember that, and I already forgot it. North Stream, or I think it's something like that. Those three are the trailers that I'd look at. Motorhomes, you know, here, do you want a Class B, a camper van? Do you want a Class A, a great big monster? So I can't, you know, I can't help it. I would say this, and I'll drop it. Try and buy from a privately owned company that has an extensive dealer network around the country. There's a lot of private ones that don't have any dealers, and that doesn't mean that any RVer can fix them. So try and get a privately owned company, preferably a family-owned company, and that has an extensive dealer network. Whatever you buy, that's what you'd like to have.
And sometimes when you want brand new and you buy new and it's too cheap, you'll be sorry.
You'll be very sorry.
It would be better to buy a used one.
Yes.
That is a better quality.
So the only advice is quality is king. And that's what I'd look for. And then I would, in general, buy from a manufacturer that's privately owned, preferably family owned, because that's their name on it. Cassis, just another question.
Can you recommend a bike carrier for that 1-inch hitch on your Wonder rear twin bed? My wife and I are receiving ours in June or July and have to pick a color.
I have a story with the best bike carriers for e-bikes, but it's on the blog, rvlifestyle.com. You could just look for bike carriers and you could come up with it. I just wrote that a month or so ago. Swagman, if you can remember that brand. They have an adapter that will take that little smaller hitch that we have. Swagman. Or you could go to, even like most U-Haul dealers will sell you hitches, and you can get an adapter for it as well if it's a bigger receptacle. But Swagman is the brand, if it's just a bicycle, that's fairly inexpensive and that should do your job for you. Kelly Stewart.
Do you or would you use or maybe purchase a portable generator to run certain things, as there are a number of great ones out there?
I just
So
wrote
what
a
do you
story.
think?
I just wrote a story on generators, gas generators, propane generators, diesel generators, built-in generators, portable generators. So and I just put that up. It went up, I think, this past week. So rvlifestyle.com, check it out. We don't need a portable one. We have a 3,600 watt Onan that runs off of propane. We love it. It's very reliable, does a great job. I don't need a smaller one. That said, if I had a smaller RV and I did not have a generator, and if I had the room to carry it, I would definitely consider a small portable power station, like you say. But all of our RVs have had built-in generators, and I've never had a need to get anything else. And check out that post. I just put it up, rvlifestyle.com. Ken Cooper loves my hoodie. Hey, Chris, if you're watching, thank you, Ken. Hey, Chris, can you make this up so we can? I don't know where I had this done.
At the dog. Well, okay.
I had this. That was like our RV. This one right here, that was our old van, our old Sprinter van. And this is the saying we've had: small house, big yard for a long time. But I'd like to make this hoodie available. And so, Chris, we need to. Yeah, we need to update. Chris is our graphics guy who's also moderating. Every week when I wear this, somebody says, "I want that," and we went to dog park. There's this guy who wants it. I've had it for several years now, and I like it. I wear it all the time, especially when it's cold like it is now. It's now down to 41 degrees, so it's dropping.
Well, it's a lot warmer than that in here.
The Gadget Guru. I think that's Andy. How you doing, Andy? Good to see you on there. Any update on the Nomad Cellular system? I don't have it, Andy. If you followed our stuff, they upped their price $50 a month right after we, one, brought them on as a sponsor, and two, after I did a really nice review. I've since gone back and I've modified that review, and I've taken the video, I think, off the air, and we ended up canceling their sponsorship because I just felt that raising the price $50 a month and not telling me that was coming after I went out and said, hey, for whatever the price was, I was very upset with that. So I modified my review. My review is up on the blog, but I would not recommend that company. And I wouldn't recommend, I did like the product. It worked great and they had good service, but I just felt that we could have been treated with a little more transparency, and I would have let people know that was coming. Any thoughts on the Tiffin Wayfair? We like that.
Tiffin's good company.
There's an example of what we're just talking about. That's a family run. Bob Tiffin and his family run it. Trent Tiffin, his grandson, manages the Class C division, which is Wayfair. We've checked out the Wayfair since it was first introduced about 4 years ago.
We've never driven it. We've
never driven it. We've slept in it.
Like a couple of weirdos.
Yeah, we were. We did sleep in one actually for a few hours. We had a cold. We were at an RV dealership, and he said, "Oh, you can go sleep in the Wayfair." So I did. I took a nap.
That's more comfortable.
And we like it. The Wayfair is a nice. Tiffin is in Red Bank, Alabama, and they make a great product. They make awesome Class A's that are, $500,000 starting at that probably. But the Tiffin Wayfair is a Class C, and it's a great unit, really nice unit. Linda Ward.
Did you see the Beebox by Advanced RV?
Haven't seen it yet. So
lots of fantastic features. But we're hoping to see it.
We're hoping to see it soon. So we'll let you know. And we've talked to Mike, and we've seen Mike's little sneak peek of it, but it looks pretty cool. I think he's got to come up with a little better name than the Beebox, but that was kind of their operating name for it. But I'll tell you, Advanced RV makes one of the, if not the finest small motorhomes anywhere in the world, as far as we're concerned. They're very expensive. Their Class Bs are the most expensive Class Bs we know. They start at about $250,000 or more, but and they're all custom made.
They make about 18 a year, and they name it.
They name it. We have a video. Go look on rvlifestyle.com, or no, the RV Lifestyle channel on YouTube, and search on our channel for Advanced RV, and you'll see the video tour we did. It shows you how they make them. But we hope to see that. Dennis Ree.
Great to see you. Can you suggest some camps in North Carolina? My wife and I are first timers with a Cougar 22
22-foot
22
rear bed, something or other. I don't know what the RBS is. Camping in North Carolina. What's the name of that town on the river? Gosh, I can't think of it. The Nantahala River. That's it. The Nantahala River Gorge. There's a gazillion campgrounds around there. We loved all of them. And I have a video up on our whitewater rafting trip that we did. We had a gathering there of a lot of our friends and followers. I forget the name of the campground we're at, but it was a great campground. It was centrally located. It's just a beautiful area in North Carolina. But our favorite place that we've ever camped in North Carolina is the Biltmore. The Biltmore Hotel. We went to an Overlanders, which is the hardcore off-road camping group. They had a meeting there 4 years ago, and they actually got they held it on the grounds of the Biltmore, and they let a lot of people overnight on the grounds. And we did. We liked it so much we ended up getting a hotel room for a couple of nights.
Yeah, we camped on the grounds, and then we stayed at the hotel.
And then we stayed at the Biltmore. Asheville's a great town. Anything near Asheville. Lots of great spots in North Carolina. Richard Yo.
Any decision on the t-shirts? You're never too old, unless you want to be.
I'm not going to put unless you want to be. I'm just going to put you're never too old, but that goes without saying. It's already up. I think it's on this channel. It's not the design I'd like, though. I had it with a hashtag, and then they printed it up. They printed it on the back, and it really needs to go on the front. But we need to get those t-shirts out, and I'm working on we're working on a couple of things that might help with that, but that's definitely one I'd really like to get out.
Do you know it's 8 bells?
You're kidding me. It's 8:02. Oh my gosh. You guys are keeping us going here today. All right, let's do like 2 more questions, and then we got to knock it off because all of our help, our volunteer help, Phyllis and Chris.
They have lives.
They have lives. Yeah. We don't. We'll stay and talk to you all night. But Donna Rigo with second to the last question.
Okay, I recently acquired a minivan that I plan to get my feet wet with in Nomad Camping. Do you have any suggestions for the mobile type solar setup with the movable panels?
I don't know anybody that has movable panels. They would be nice to have, but they'd be extremely expensive. I don't think you need that, Donna. If you really want to do something like that, then just get the portable panels that you set out at night or set out in the afternoon, and you can adjust the angle yourself. But I don't know, on a minivan, I think that would be just way too expensive. So I don't have any suggestions other than you can get a couple of 100-watt solar panels and just set them out yourself, and you can adjust them as the sun travels across the sky for yourself. In a minivan, you're going to be working off the 12-volt system of the engine in the minivan, and that'll power almost everything you need. And it will certainly give you an experience, whether you want to really get an RV or whether it isn't for you. So I wouldn't invest too much money, and I particularly wouldn't invest in the movable panels at this point. So go give it a try first, maybe with a portable panel. All right, last question of the night comes from Dean Johnson, and there you go.
Is the Quartzsite RV show in a few months worth the journey?
Well, yeah, I guess if you like
a lot of people,
if you like a lot of people in the midst of a still uncertain pandemic,
a very small town.
It's an incredible town. You're not going to be able to, the supermarkets during the week of the Quartzsite show, everything is an hour-long wait to get in anywhere. You camp, you boondock in the desert. That's always fun. It's great fun. The show is fun. It's a spectacle in and of itself.
It is like nothing else that happens.
Yep. We went right after the show last year and loved it. It was quiet. It was still crowded, but it wasn't bad. There was still a lot of shows going on. We were hoping to go to the show this year, but if the Tampa RV show is on, we've got to go to that. And then we may drive out to Arizona afterwards. We're debating whether we drive our RV to Tampa or whether it makes sense, just like we normally do. We normally do our winter camp out in Tequamanon Falls, then we fly to Tampa and cover the show there and fly back, and then we take off. So we're not quite sure. This pandemic has everything.
We have a dog.
We have a dog. The dog changes everything.
A dog
really
changes everything.
You know, people, we love our dog, and he's
him.
a part of our family, but they make it very difficult.
He's a big boy, 65 pounds.
Now we work, you know, this is our job, you know, camping and doing videos and all that stuff. If we were just
taking him to the show is hard.
Oh, we can't
to work and take care of his needs.
He's got too many fans.
We don't like to board him in strange places unless we really have to.
All right, that's it. Let's thank Phyllis. I'll bring you on, Phyllis. How'd it go tonight? Everybody behaving out there?
Yeah, Chris is doing a great job over on YouTube, and I'll go back over to Facebook in a few minutes and just make sure we answered everything from there too.
Oh, that's great. Phyllis, thank you as always for everything you do, and we'll see you next week too.
All right, bye-bye.
There goes Phyllis. Phyllis Care. Thanks also to Chris Cowley, who's taking charge of everything on YouTube for us. And thanks to so many of you. I can't believe how fast this hour went.
It really did go by quickly.
It really went by fast. You guys are the best. We love you to death, and keep in touch. If we missed your question, I'm really sorry. Come back on early next week and put it right at the top, and we will do our best then to figure it all out. But meantime, check us out, rvlifestyle.com. Go there. We've got new videos up every single day. I got a new newsletter coming out. I got to finish writing that tonight as soon as we get done with this. And that goes out at 6 a.m. Eastern time tomorrow. If you haven't subscribed to our newsletter, you can do that through the rvlifestyle.com blog as well. That's it. We'll see you next Sunday night. New video coming up on Wednesday or on Saturday. Podcast Wednesday. We got a lot of work to do this week.
Got to get to work. Happy trails.
Bye-bye.